How did an obscure competition series on a defunct network grow into a ratings juggernaut for NBC? For American Ninja Warrior, the road to popularity was a true obstacle course. Early seasons of American Ninja Warrior were very different. It was initially known as American Ninja Challenge, a video submission series in which contestants submitted videos of themselves on ninja obstacles. The ultimate goal of that early version of the series was to compete on the Japanese game show Sasuke. In those first few seasons, contestants competed in one city qualifying course in Venice Beach. The top 30 moved on to the city finals, where they entered a boot camp that whittled them down to just 10 ninja finalists. From there, the 10 ninja finalists traveled to Japan to compete on Sasuke. Although the format was different, there were still some familiar ninjas competing, including James McGrath, Brent Stevenson, and Flip Rodriguez. American Ninja Warrior didn't get its start on NBC. The show started out on G4 TV, also known as G4, a network within the company's cable group. That channel doesn't exist anymore, but it provided a home for American Ninja Warrior for its first 3 increasingly popular seasons. According to host Matt Iseman, G4 went to NBC during the 3rd season and offered to allow them to air the finale for free. In an interview with GQ, Iseman recalled execs saying, "Just air it on NBC to tell people G4 exists." So the show swapped networks, and with little to no promotion, the mostly unheard of obstacle course series ended up winning the ratings for the night. This led to American Ninja Warrior's permanent relocation in Season 4. American Ninja Warrior fans know that show co-host Matt Iseman is the man responsible for the signature drawn-out pronunciation of the show's title.
An American Ninja Warrior!
Many don't realize that he had quite an interesting life before taking his place at the podium. Before becoming a TV personality, Iseman graduated with honors from Princeton University and earned his medical degree at the Columbia College of Physicians and Surgeons. He did his residency in internal medicine at the University of Colorado and was a practicing doctor before he decided to leave the medical world and take a shot at his true passion, comedy.
Even as I was doing medical school, I was doing some stand-up comedy, and initially I didn't think it was going to end up being my career.
As a comedian, he performed at the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Olympics and traveled the world with the USO before joining American Ninja Warrior in its 2nd season. It may sound like the hosts of American Ninja Warrior are right there in the moment. However, the way the course is set up makes it so that they can't always see the first few obstacles. As Iseman told Reality Blurred, the hosts watch on monitors. This gives them close-up views of the obstacles they can see, while allowing the hosts to provide more accurate commentary about minute details like hand placements and grips. Iseman told the outlet, "On a typical course, we usually can't see the first or second obstacle. We can then see most of them up to the warped wall, and then we'll have monitors in front of us. For the obstructed obstacles and close-ups," he said, "we're watching the monitor trying to get a better sense of it, particularly on stuff where it's hand placement. Where's their grip going? But usually we can see most of the course." American Ninja Warrior held its first celebrity competition as part of NBC's Red Nose Day in 2017, allowing the likes of Arrow star Stephen Amell and Dancing with the Stars dancer Derek Huff to take on the course. NBC then brought the special back in 2018 with co-host Akbar Gbajabiamila even joining in on the runs for charity.
This is special for me to be able to run this Red Nose course. This is for a good cause.
Other stars who've taken on the American Ninja Warrior course throughout the years include Survivor contestants, Olympians, and professional athletes, from Globetrotters to MMA fighters. Repeat appearances have included race car driver Jade Buford and former NFL player Andrew East. One of the most persistent celebrity competitors is Olympic silver medalist gymnast Jonathan Horton, who competed in 3 separate seasons between 2014 and 2021. Despite his valiant efforts, though, he's never made it to the national finals in Las Vegas. Jessie Graff has doubled for a superhero on TV, and she's basically a real-life superhero too. Graff, who worked as a stunt double on multiple episodes of the CW's Supergirl, made history on the course in the summer of 2016 when she became the first woman to complete Stage 1 in Las Vegas. A veteran of several of the show's seasons, Graff has popped up as a stuntwoman in a whole bunch of your favorite TV shows and movies, including Live Free or Die Hard, Bridesmaids, and Transformers: Dark of the Moon. In 2020, she had the privilege of appearing in Wonder Woman 1984 as both an Amazonian warrior and stunt double for Wonder Woman herself, Gal Gadot. The stuntwoman is also well known for her real-life staging of the famous Family Guy chicken fight. which has over 1.9 million views on YouTube.
Chicken gave me a bad coupon. Ah!
It seems like a no-brainer that quite a lot of planning and work goes into setting up the elaborate obstacles of American Ninja Warrior. But it's interesting to see just how deep the process goes. The whole course is the size of a football field, while Las Vegas's Mount Midoriyama is the size of 4 football fields. So that's a lot of real estate to fill up with new challenges. Producer Brian Richardson said planning the obstacles takes months of brainstorming, with some ideas starting as something someone sketched on a napkin. From there, they figure out the course on paper before building a prototype and testing it in a warehouse. If it passes, it makes it to the course. But the testing isn't done yet. Even more people test the course to make sure the difficulty is at the right level. Apparently, producers have a set goal of around 20% of contestants finishing the city qualifiers, meaning that they repeatedly test new obstacles until they find about 24 to include. Contestants don't know which obstacles they'll face going in, and they're not allowed to try out the course before their official run. So it's on them to figure out in the moment how to keep up with whatever producers throw at them. The obstacles are also ordered in a certain way, something frequent observers of the show may notice. According to the people responsible for designing the challenges, this is done on purpose to provide some structure. The first obstacle is always some variation of the steps, usually 4 paths the contestants can either run or jump across. The second obstacle is a not too hard upper body challenge. Co-executive producer Anthony Storm told Men's Journal, "Almost everyone can physically get past the second obstacle, but if you're nervous, you're probably going to fail it." The other obstacles tend to focus on skills like balance, upper body strength, and speed. The third obstacle, for instance, is usually balance-based, while the fifth once again focuses on upper body strength. The qualifying course always ends with the warped wall, while the salmon ladder always places 8th when moving on to the city finals. Up until Season 5, American Ninja Warrior contestants competed during the day. Since then, however, filming has happened at night. Tapings in each city begin around 8 p.m. and go into the wee hours of the morning, with some contestants doing their runs around 3 or 4 a.m. Even contestants who run earlier in the night can stick around that late if they're waiting to find out whether they made it into the top 30 or 15, especially those who are on the edge. This is obviously quite taxing on contestants, adding a whole new layer of difficulty to an already grueling show. Being a great athlete doesn't guarantee you a spot on American Ninja Warrior. While the show obviously puts quite a lot of effort into finding contestants who are able to compete, there are a lot of other factors that go into casting. To apply to be on American Ninja Warrior, contestants have to submit a long online questionnaire as well as a video of themselves. The video is where contestants have to really let their personality shine. In the video, contestants have to convince the casting directors that they won't just be able to complete the course, but that they'll also be fun to watch. As with most reality shows, the Ninja casting directors are looking for contestants with interesting stories who will inspire viewers both on and off the course. Jeff Britton became the first man to reach the top of Stage 4 in Vegas in Season 7 of American Ninja Warrior, but he didn't end up with the $1 million prize. Instead, that went to Isaac Caldiero, the second man to finish. Caldiero topped the rope in just under 4 seconds less than Britton.
It's like a dream right now.
The fact that Britton walked away empty-handed caused a lot of upset among American Ninja Warrior fans, seeing as Britton finished every single course, while Caldiero did not. Caldiero failed in the second to last obstacle of the Kansas City finals, but still qualified to move on to Las Vegas due to his fast time. Britton took the results in stride for the most part, but many fans did not. Some fans even set up a GoFundMe account to give Britton his $1 million. While it didn't come anywhere near reaching that lofty goal, the GoFundMe account did raise $14,000. Since the controversy, the show has made several adjustments to its formula. In Season 8, for example, the rules were changed so that multiple finishers of Stage 4 would split the top prize. Then, in Season 10, the show introduced the $100,000 prize for Last Ninja Standing. The Last Ninja Standing is the competitor who goes the furthest, the fastest, regardless of whether all the stages are completed. Many ninjas have to quit their day jobs if they want to get serious about competing, because being an elite-level ninja is basically like being a pro athlete. Ninjas are finding new ways to make a living based on their athleticism. This includes doing commercials and making appearances at gyms and other events. A high percentage of ninjas also own their own gyms. However, some ninjas are still pushing for more, with many believing that the future of the sport may eventually lead as far as the Olympics. For now, however, the main concern is compensation for athletes. While the show has the $1 million prize, early seasons didn't offer much else. It wasn't until after the Season 7 controversy that the show instituted the $100,000 prize for Last Ninja Standing and small monetary prizes for top city finals finishers. However, the show will have to continue to evolve and update its rules for compensation and sponsorships in order to keep the athletes coming back. American Ninja Warrior has gotten a lot more popular, and so have ninja gyms. Once a specialty business, these gyms let people train using the same types of obstacles and techniques they see in the show. The gyms began to pop up all over the country and have become a cottage industry all their own. The increasing trend of ninja gyms has resulted in more applications for the show, which saw 50,000 people apply for Season 7, up from just 5,000 for Season 6. This has also resulted in competitors like Josh Levin and Daniel Gill. Both trained for years at ninja gyms, while waiting until they were old enough to get on the show. So if you've ever wanted to take a shot at the course, look around for your nearest ninja gym and start practicing. The success of American Ninja Warrior has led to quite a few spin-offs, including specials like Celebrity American Ninja Warrior, Family Ninja Warrior, and USA vs. the World. There have also been full-fledged shows like Team Ninja Warrior and American Ninja Warrior Jr., the latter of which allowed kids ages 9 to 14 a chance to compete. There are also similar competitions like Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge. This show brought in teams of athletes for a difficult race, with 4 people serving under an elite captain. Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge was often paired with American Ninja Warrior on NBC's summer schedule, providing a whole night of athletic fun. American Ninja Warrior has also spawned a few copycats, most notably Netflix's Ultimate Beastmaster, in which contestants run an obstacle course called The Beast. The show uses a very similar format to Ninja Warrior and features similarly difficult types of obstacles. However, unlike American Ninja Warrior, Beastmaster always crowns a winner in the end. Matt Eisman's cohort in the American Ninja Warrior commentator's box is former NFL linebacker Akbar Gbajabiamila. The transition from professional athlete to sports analyst is a common one, but this Los Angeles native, son of Nigerian immigrants, has a boisterous enthusiasm that makes him a joy to watch. Furthermore, his quick analysis of ninjas' runs on the American Ninja Warrior course provides excellent insight. One reason for that insight and enthusiasm might be that Gbajabiamila himself once appeared as a reality contestant. Expedition Impossible aired in 2011 on ABC and featured 13 teams of 3 in a format very similar to The Amazing Race. On the show, teams traveled together to various checkpoints, completed challenges, and raced to the end. Prior to hosting American Ninja Warrior, Gbajabiamila worked for NFL Network, and now he splits his ninja time as co-host of The Talk on CBS. In addition, he holds a certificate from the Wharton School of Business and became a published author in 2019 with his motivational book, Everyone Can Be a Ninja. Several women worked as sideline reporters for American Ninja Warrior over the years. In 2019, however, Zuri Hall joined the team and broke the mold. Hall worked in local TV news before turning her talents to hosting in a variety of venues, from the NBA to the Thanksgiving Day Parade. She went on to work for E! In several capacities in addition to MTV, VH1, BET, and others. Now, she reports for Access Hollywood and co-hosts All Access, in addition to her American Ninja Warrior duties. Hall earned a full academic scholarship to The Ohio State University for her entire 4-year tenure, and now holds a degree in strategic communication. She also minored in theater, and even studied with the famed improv group Upright Citizens Brigade. Hall uses her celebrity to support Black women, racial justice, and underprivileged communities. That said, her advocacy is a feature American Ninja Warrior embraces. Unlike most competition reality shows, American Ninja Warrior is a huge supporter of charitable work, with contestants often wearing their causes on their sleeves. Hall loves being a part of the American Ninja Warrior community and its persistent emphasis on conquering obstacles in life, as well as on the course. When 5-foot-tall Kacy Catanzaro reached the top of the Warped Wall in 2014, she made history as the first woman ever to complete a qualifying course on American Ninja Warrior. When she completed the Dallas City Finals course a few weeks later, a movement was born. It was known as the Kacy Effect, and it culminated in hundreds of women taking up the sport and applying to compete on the show. Catanzaro opened the door to men and women being held to equal standards, at least in the network Ninja Obstacle Course competition series. Elite athlete Jesse Graff, gym owner Jesse Flex Lebrec, and personal trainer Michelle Warnke fought to be higher in the rankings than some of the most highly rated men to have been on the show. Now, Catanzaro competes in a whole new arena as part of World Wrestling Entertainment. As a WWE wrestler, she paired with Caden Carter as a tag team. Together, they not only won the championship, but retained it for a record-breaking 186 days. Wrestling is a big change from ninja courses, but no matter what Catanzaro does from now on, she'll always be the person who set a new standard for women in American Ninja Warrior.
I want to go out the best that I can, and I want to continue to make people proud.
Couples meeting on reality television is not a new phenomenon, but when they meet on American Ninja Warrior, the bonds seem a little stronger. Take James the Beast McGrath and Alyssa Beard. The couple met while competing on the show together. 6 years later, McGrath popped the question following his successful completion of the qualifying course. The moment was poignant, sweet, and completely inspirational. Then there's Chris DeGangi and Jesse Flex Lebrec. Their relationship also started as a result of the show, and it's grown in front of the audience's eyes throughout the years. The two are loving and supportive of one another, but also highly competitive. DeGangi and Lebrec are so evenly matched that they often fall at the same obstacle, finish the wall together, and run step for step when competing head-to-head. In 2023, another ninja love story came to light when the show revealed that Caitlin Bergstrom and David Wright were married in September 2022. The couple initially met at the Las Vegas finals in 2019. Caitlin's ninja brother, Caleb, is also married to a fellow ninja competitor, Ashley, and the foursome make training and competing together a family affair. Early seasons of American Ninja Warrior were known for their days-long walk-on lines where contestant hopefuls would camp outside just for the chance to compete. Stars like Kevin Bull had unforgettable runs after coming on as walk-on contestants. Moreover, regular competitor Dave Kavanaugh is known as King of the Walk-Ons because he made it to the show through that process for 5 straight seasons. Unfortunately, the process was cumbersome and often required prospective ninjas to take weeks off of work for only a slim chance to compete. For season 11, therefore, the process was changed. Instead of camping at taping locations, contestants could enter themselves in a lottery at one of the qualifying cities. The lottery process was incredibly simple, consisting of no more than 20 names being selected from the entrants. Those 20 entrants were the successful walk-ons for that city, and anyone who didn't get on the show there could apply at one of the other locations. When American Ninja Warrior first landed on TV screens, contestants had to be at least 21 to compete. For 12 seasons, this was the case. Unsurprisingly, those in their early 20s were some of the strongest and fastest competitors. However, the real inspiration came from a lot of the older contestants. Ninja has always been a sport that allows people of all ages to try their hands at the obstacles. In 2018, however, the age limit was lowered to 19, and the focus of the show began to pivot to the younger ninjas.
American Ninja Warrior is tapping into the fountain of youth.
For season 13, the age limit was lowered again, and teens as young as 15 were invited to compete on the elaborate obstacle course. Obviously, youth has always been a focus of television in general, but fans were evenly split on whether the lowered limit was a good idea or not. Many believed their younger, more flexible bodies would hold an unfair advantage. Others thought their lack of experience would be a disadvantage. However, the great success of some of these younger competitors, particularly Caden Lebsack, means the change is here to stay. Of the many American Ninja Warrior superstars, some of the most successful have had a previous history of excelling in other sports. Athletes who have trained to control their body movements in midair, such as gymnasts and pole vaulters, seem to hold a certain edge. Rock climbers with their incredible grip strength, strategic problem solving, and ability to pace themselves for long climbs have also landed among the elite competitors. The show's first winners, for example, were rock climbers Jeff Britton and Isaac Caldiero, whose upper body strength, grip strength, and stamina served them extremely well on the courses. Some of those who've attempted Stage 4, like Caldiero and Josh Levin, are professional rock climbers, while one of them, Travis Rosen, is a former gymnast. Furthermore, some of the best women to compete on American Ninja Warrior have also leveraged skills from these same areas. Jesse Graff is famously a former record-setting pole vaulter, while Kacy Catanzaro and Barkley Stockett were both gymnasts. Meanwhile, rock climber Megan Martin boasts pole vaulting, competitive climbing, and gymnastics skills, all of which she utilized to become the first women's champion in 2021. In Season 8, American Ninja Warrior announced its Obstacle Design Challenge. Since then, 29 obstacles to appear across the stages have been designed by fans and fellow ninjas. 4 of them were designed by the same guy, Kevin, the Maker, Carbone. In Season 9, Carbone became the first designer to compete on his own invention, successfully completing the Wingnuts obstacle in Daytona Beach.
I got to the course after 3 weeks of waiting, and I look up, and there's the wingnut.
In fact, Carbone was so successful at creating new obstacles that it became his profession. Carbone wasn't the only competitor to design new hurdles for the athletes to face. Fellow ninjas Kevin Brecky, Christian Yost, and Brett Sims have also submitted obstacles that appeared on the show. However, it doesn't require a ninja to design a good obstacle. In Season 14, Tetherball premiered, having been designed by Stacey Harris. While the Obstacle Design Challenge was not announced for Season 15, new fan-designed obstacles are still premiering on ninja courses. On Episode 3, contestants had to try to navigate the puzzling upper body obstacle, the Cubes. The Cubes obstacle was designed by a 10-year-old fan from Ithaca, New York named Grace, proving good ideas are ageless. Dubbed the real-life ninja, Drew Dreshel was an American Ninja Warrior phenom. A freerunner and gym owner, Dreshel had competed on the show every year since Season 4. He was known for fast times and great finesse and was easily one of the show's favorite personalities. After years of competing, Dreshel finally won the distinction of the Last Ninja Standing in Season 10 and was a grand prize winner in Season 11. In 2020, however, news broke that Dreshel had been arrested on various charges of illegal sexual contact with the minor. The charges were supported by several explicit pictures in Dreshel's possession of the minor in question. American Ninja Warrior wasted no time in responding to the charges, permanently severing all ties with Dreshel and editing him out of episodes that had yet to air. In a statement quoted by NBC News, a spokesperson for the show said, "We will not let the actions of one contestant tarnish the hard work and amazing stories of so many." On June 1st, 2023, Drew Dreshel entered into a plea deal for which he is yet to be sentenced. The deal encompassed pleading guilty to 2 charges that could result in up to 60 years in prison and would require registration as a sex offender. Dreshel's sentencing is set for October 24th, 2023.